Hi gang, I'm going to show you how to make a coil gun. This is something I've been asked for a few times over the years. So I've come up with a very simple, cheap way, but also one that isn't super powerful, to be on the safe side. The end result is this coil gun that uses a magnetized coil to fire steel rods. Warning, there is still dangerous power stored in the capacitors. So if you do this, then you do so at your own risk. Also, do it only if you're experienced with electronics, or are helped by someone who is. How does a coil gun work? The coil is just many turns of wire wrapped around a hollow non-ferromagnetic tube. Plastic, for example. When you run electric current through the coil, that creates a magnetic field around the coil. It's an electromagnet. When you bring a ferromagnetic object near it, that object is attracted to it, just like it would to a permanent magnet. Things made of steel or iron work well. The object's momentum shoots it out the other side of the coil, but the magnetic pole on that side attracts it back. The object's momentum then shoots it out the other side, and it's attracted back by the magnetic pole on that side. This back and forth continues, going a little less farther each time, until it stops in the center of the coil. But here we're supplying the energy for the current for those magnetic fields using some capacitors. Touching here is like closing a switch, connecting the capacitors to the coil. The capacitors then dump their energy, creating the current for the magnetic field. But the capacitor's energy is all dumped very quickly, only long enough for the magnetic field to attract the object toward the center of the coil. With no more energy, the magnetic field collapses, and the object's momentum keeps it going. If there was enough energy in the capacitors to create a strong magnetic field, then the object is attracted strongly and shoots out the other side with a lot of force and speed. To fire again, we need to recharge the capacitors. Here are the parts. An electric fly swatter or bug zapper, the type that looks like a small tennis racket, bought from a hardware store. A pen made with a plastic tube. Cardboard. Around 13 meters or 42 feet of wire. I'm using 26 gauge wire. It's often called magnet wire because it's often used for making electromagnets, but it's really just copper wire with a thin enamel coating on it. Tape. Any tape will do as long as it's not aluminum or copper tape. High voltage electrolytic capacitors. From experimenting, I know I need a total capacitance of around 600 microfarads, and they need to be rated for at minimum 110 volts, since that's just above what I'll be charging them to. I had to combine 6 capacitors to get it. They're from old disposable cameras, which camera stores often give away for free after they develop the film. I used my multimeter, set it to the capacitance scale, and then measured at around 100 microfarads each. And I'm told they're rated for 330 volts. With 6 of them, I should get around 600 microfarads. A metal coat hanger wire for the bolts which will be fired. A terminal strip for making 2 connections. I get mine from a local electronics store. I also need a meter which can measure voltage. Here's how I made the coil. I start by taking apart the pen to get the hollow plastic tube. The plug at the end won't come out, so I push a hole into it using a length of coat hanger wire. I make 2 cardboard discs by first tracing out circles for the pen, and carefully cutting them out with a knife. Then I draw bigger circles centered around those, roughly 25 millimeters or 1 inch in diameter, and cut them out. I also cut out a notch in the middle of one of them. Positioning the disc with the notch in it around 20 millimeters or 3/4 inch away from the end of the pen, I hot glue it in place. I make sure to not cover the notch with hot glue, though it'd be easy to cut away if I did. I slide on and hot glue the second disc, around 25 millimeters or 1 inch away from the first one. From between the 2 discs, I push one end of the wire through the notch, such that there's a useful length sticking out, say around 15 to 30 centimeters or 6 inches to a foot long. I twist that around the end to get it out of the way. Then I start winding it around the pen. I try to make it neat without any gaps or overlapping, but it doesn't have to be perfect at all. The entire coil must be wound around the pen in the same direction, so I mark on a disc which way that is as a reminder. When I get to the other disc, I cover the coil in tape. I try not to make too many lumps with the tape, since lumps make winding harder. That's followed by more winding in the same direction around the pen as the first layer, working my way back to the first disc. When that layer's done, I put tape again, and again work my way back to the other disc, and so on. I keep winding layers until there's only around 15 to 30 centimeters or 6 inches to a foot left. I cover the last layer with tape too. For my 26 gauge wire, I got around 7 3/4 layers, with around 50 turns per layer. Next come the capacitors. As I said, to get the recommended 600 microfarads, I needed to connect 6 capacitors in parallel. They're electrolytic capacitors, meaning they have a negative terminal and a positive terminal. The negative is indicated by a minus sign or a stripe on the side. I realized that a compact way to arrange the capacitors would be to wrap them around the pen. So I first arrange them in a circle to see how well they fit around the pen. I then wrap a bunch of tape around the pen to make it thicker, until I have a good fit. I then add a second set of tape. Next, I put a little hot glue on each capacitor and glue them in place with the negative terminals facing outward. I prepare a zip tie and put it on for a better hold, and pull it tight. Then I add a second one and snip off the extra. Here it is so far. I strip around 55 millimeters or 2 1/4 inches of insulation off a red insulated wire. I cut around 15 centimeters or 6 inches for the lead, and a little on the end for connecting to. I first tin or put solder on the wire. Starting from near the insulation, I solder all those positive terminals together, rotating and adjusting each time. Then I cut off the excess. Before moving on, I set up a continuity test, setting the meter for resistance and beeping. Touching all the positive terminals, they all look good. Then I use a black wire for the negative terminals, with gaps in it for each terminal. Note that I'm using fairly stiff 18 gauge stranded wire, so that they won't flop around and create short circuits. I make it by stripping around 30 millimeters, or 1 1/8 inch from one end, and then sliding 12 millimeter or ½ inch pieces of insulation along, leaving short 5 millimeter or 3/16 inch gaps behind. The result is 6 gaps, one for each terminal. I tin the gaps, and then solder those onto the negative terminals. I set things up to measure capacitance, and putting my meter on the capacitance scale, I get around 650 microfarads. Perfect. Next comes the power supply, this electric Fly Swatter. Once you've turned it on, it produces a high voltage, as you can see here when I produce sparks. I have a separate video all about it and how it works. I unscrew all the screws and pry apart the racket section. The high voltage comes from these wires. The red is positive, and the 2 yellows are connected together and are negative. There's already a capacitor here, but it doesn't store enough energy for the coil gun, which is why I prepared all those other capacitors. I unscrew the circuit board so I can replace the red and yellow wires. I don't need 2 yellow wires, so I desolder them and replace them with a single black one instead, since black means negative. I also remove and replace the red one with a longer one. The other thing I do is to replace the switch. The existing one has to be held in to stay on. I desolder the wires going to that and extend them by soldering longer wires to them. I slide heat shrink tubing over the exposed connections and use a heat gun to shrink it in place. I put a mess of tape over that to act as a strain relief when I close the cover. I then solder a switch from a local electronics store to the wires. I've already cut a hole for the switch wires to go through, so I put the cover back on and screw it in place. A quick test shows that it still works. Time to assemble it all. Here's the diagram I follow. I first use a tie strap to attach the terminal strip to the pen. Hot glue would also work. Next, I scrape off some of the insulating coating from the ends of the coil wires. To do that, I gently scrape it against a knife or scissors. Since it's convenient and it'll make things compact, I tie strap the coil to the top of the Fly Swatter. I then twist together the positive from the Fly Swatter with the positive from the capacitor, and twist either end of the coil wire around that. That then goes into one of the terminal strip holes. Tightening the screw holds it in place. I pull on it to make sure it's tight. Then I twist the negative from the Fly Swatter with the negative from the capacitor, but not the remaining coil wire. I then put those in a terminal strip hole. I tighten that in place. From the top you can see which holes they go in. I put the positive meter probe in the hole opposite the positive wires, and the negative meter probe in the hole opposite the negative wires, and tighten them in place. I have a wire with alligator clips on both ends. I connect one end of it to the remaining coil wire. The other end of the alligator clip will be for firing the coil gun, so to be safe, I tape that one to the end of a longish plastic rod. The bolts that I fire are cut from a metal coat hanger. Cutting them makes sharp edges, so I sand both ends round for added safety. Time to test it. This part is a little dangerous since the capacitors will have a lot of energy in them. I check that the alligator clips from the coil are not near any other connections. I put a bolt in the end of the pen, such that it's not quite in the coil. I put the meter on the DC voltage scale. I also put on some safety goggles. I turn on the Fly Swatter. The voltage on the meter starts rising. The Fly Swatter isn't very powerful, and the capacitors can hold a lot of charge, so the voltage goes up slowly. From testing at low voltages, I know that around 100 volts will do. After around a minute or so of charging, it reaches 100 volts. I turn off the fly swatter, being careful not to touch or move anything else. I then use the plastic rod to bring the alligator clip near any of the exposed negative wiring at the capacitors. That's the outer ring with the black wire. I touch it. That closes the connection between the coil and the capacitors, and the coil fires the bolt. To make sure the capacitors are fully discharged and are safe, I hold the alligator clip to the negative for a few seconds more. And here are a few more firings. Well, thanks for watching. See my YouTube channel for more how-to videos like this. You can support these videos either through Patreon or through a one-time donation. And if you like these videos, don't forget to subscribe, give a thumbs up, share with your social media, or leave a question or comment below. See you soon.